Hello and welcome to Fit News. I'm your host, Jen Shaver. If the past few years have found you behind a screen more, whether it is your computer or your phone, this episode of Fit News is just for you. Maybe you've been experiencing more headaches or just a decline in your health, but did you know that there could be a connection with your posture? In fact, proper posture is an important part of overall health and well-being. It helps to ensure that your spine and muscles are properly aligned, which can help reduce pain and fatigue. Proper posture can also help to improve your mental health as well, as it can create a sense of confidence and self-assurance. Today's guest is a posture expert and is here to share with you some helpful posture tips. My guest today is Aesha Tahir. She is an exercise physiologist on a mission to help busy desk-bound professionals live a better life through upright posture. She is the founder and operator of Tone and Strengthen, a virtual fitness solutions company. She has helped many desk-bound teams unlock the door to self-confidence, courage, and improved health by providing fitness coaching to correct their posture. Her new book, Unhunched, is about discovering wellness through posture, and it will be out May of 2023. Thank you, Aesha. Thank you, Aesha, for taking the time to join us today. We are looking forward to this. In the intro, I talked about posture having an effect on our overall health. Why does posture matter? And what is proper posture? How do we know if we have proper posture or poor posture? I mean, what are those, how do we know? And what is it?
Jen, first of all, thanks for having me on the show. It's a pleasure to be here and to be able to talk and communicate with your audience. You asked, what is proper posture and why? Why posture, right?
Right.
When I started writing the book, I asked myself the same question, like, why posture, right? But think about it, that the way our body is aligned is dictated by not only, just our natural and inherent alignment of the head and the joints and the muscles, right?
Right.
There's a lot that goes into it. And our body is very adaptable, very moldable. So that's what creates a posture which could lead to different diseases, having sleep apnea, breathing obstruction. We are talking about digestion, improper digestion or inefficient digestion. And then we start taking a look, we go from inside out, and we also take a look at the muscles and the joints and think about all these higher incidences of lower back pain. We know that 80% of the desk-bound professionals in US will have lower back pain at some point in their lives. And the younger the professional, so we are seeing it happen more and more in the teenagers and younger professionals, because they always grew up with these, right? So, and how do we use them? For those of you who are just listening to it, I'm trying to create this hunch over position. So what happens is when our body is out of alignment, when our spine is out of alignment specifically, but then it follows with all the other joints and then the muscle imbalances. It's not just affecting your joints. It's not just affecting the way you move your arm or the way you reach up with your arm or the way you walk or the way you sit or stand. Think about it. It's also affecting our breathing, which is which is life. We can do everything in our life, but without the breath, we are no more.
Right. Yeah. I mean, without getting the oxygen.
Yes.
To all of the cells and all the places, the muscles, the oxygen that's needed for them to function correctly.
Exactly. So we are obstructing our breathing, and we know scientists have done a lot of research on this. With a hunched over posture, the way we work on the computers, which this is specific to desk mount professionals and people who work on computers for a long amount of time, we know it decreases our breathing by 30%.
That's a lot. 30% that's a large number. And when you look at, I would venture to say, the number of people who are spending a lot more time because of the way things changed in the past 2 years, the number of individuals that are spending more time on their computers has probably risen.
It has. It has. And not only that, but with the post-pandemic shift of working from home, yes, it allows you flexibility. I'm not, I'm aware of that. And I actually enjoy that flexibility now. But at the same time, all those ergonomic setups have been taken away from us.
Right.
And now we are working from home, sitting on our couches, really not paying attention to how we are sitting, working in the kitchen, on the kitchen counter, hunched over, literally wrapped over our keyboards and desktops, right? And laptops. And going back to the adaptability of our bodies, our body is like a mold. So when you are holding this certain position for a certain period of time, that's the mold it just sets into. We are not aware of it ourselves.
Right.
Right. But slowly, we have these rounded shoulders that we see in our desk-bound professionals. We have this forward head posture that we see in our desk-bound professionals. And then we also see a lot of tightness in the hip flexors, which creates an anterior pelvic tilt. For those listeners who are not aware of what an anterior pelvic tilt is, it means that your pelvis gets shifted forward and you have a very pronounced arch in the back. Mm-hmm. And the anterior pelvic tilt is a great segue into how to know if you have a good posture or not. So there's a little posture test, and it is also described in my book, which wonderful. I say that people can do. There are a couple of ways to go about it. You can ask a friend, or you can just put your iPhone or smartphone on a stand and just take a sideways lateral view photo of your whole body. Okay.
Great idea.
If you do that, what we are looking for is that imagine a plumb line, imagine a line that's drawn from like the middle of the crown of your head here.
Okay.
And it goes down, it should intersect right here at your ears. So your shoulders should be, and then your shoulders should be aligned with your ears. And the rest of the body gets aligned on the sideways with your ears.
Okay.
If your spine is out of alignment, you would see your hips actually forward 1 or 2 inches, more forward than the line you're drawing from your ears.
Okay.
Okay. Same thing with the ankles and feet and knees. We see that those move forward. With the shoulders too, you will see if you have a rounded shoulder and you type a lot, you will literally see your shoulder actually forward from your ears, and it could be, anywhere from 1 inch to 6 inches or 7 inches, which is very extreme, of course.
Yeah.
So that's one way. But let's say you have maybe just a ½ inch of the forward motion of your movement of your shoulders, and you're like, I can't really pick it on a photograph, right? So what you're going to do is you're going to take a wall which doesn't have any of the pictures or anything hanging, and you're gonna just stand against a wall with your heels on the baseboard. Okay. And just stand as if you're trying to press your body into the wall, but you're not going to intentionally just relax. I say march a couple of times so that you get into your natural posture. Okay. And just stand. See if your head actually touches the wall or not. If your head is not touching the wall, you have a forward head posture.
Which I would imagine, especially, in this day and age, with all the time on your phone, that probably is quite prevalent with many.
Exactly. And same thing for the spine, this wall test is amazing because you can literally, and again, your listeners probably can't see it, so definitely go and see the recording of this video. We are gonna pass our hand right here where our, right above our lower back.
Okay.
So between mid back and lower back. So if you can go more than your 4 fingers behind, you have more than your finger distance between the wall and your back.
Okay.
You have an unnatural spine.
Okay. So we don't want more than 4 fingers in the small of
Yeah.
our back when we're against the wall.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. If you have more than that, that means you have that anterior pelvic tilt, you sit a lot. So that tells us a lot. So it's amazing. Yeah, when I was even writing this book, and whenever I do the assessment on my clients, it's amazing to see how our bodies tell the story of how we work.
Right.
Yeah. 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 So there's a lot of mystery and a lot of knowledge in our bodies.
For sure. Yes. What are some side effects, though, for improper posture? We started to talk about, we said digestion, low back pain.
Yeah. So it affects almost every system in our bodies.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. When you are sitting, and I try to explain this again visually, that when you're sitting, think of yourself sitting in a slumped position. What is happening in the middle section of your body, where all the organs are located? Well, you're compressing them.
Right.
Right. So you're compressing your stomach. And especially if you eat a big lunch or after a big breakfast, you sit and work.
Right.
Well, you're not going to be able to properly digest your food because you're compressing your stomach. Now, think of it like there are contents in the stomach that need to move in your body, and even your intestines are getting really crunched here. So when that is happening, we know that our digestion isn't optimal.
Mm-hmm.
So I highly suggest after your meals, stand up. So invest in a standing desk or an attachment that can convert your desk into a standing desk.
Okay.
And after the meals, for sure, for 30 minutes to 40 minutes, stand up instead of sitting down.
Right.
Then also the lungs and especially our diaphragm, that's where the oxygen exchange occurs.
Okay.
That's what's getting compressed. And we're not able to, so diaphragm is like an elastic organ. It's almost like a balloon. Think of a balloon, right? So whenever you breathe in, you're trying to really inflate that balloon nice and big with the air. Okay. And then when we exhale, we are trying to deflate that. Okay. Now you're sitting down in a slumped position. What's happening? The diaphragm is compressed. Right. The balloon is almost like a knot at this point, and it's not going to be able to expand. Right. And let's take it a step further now. These are the physical symptoms we see. Most of us are very familiar with the lower back pain, the neck pain, the shoulder pain. I mean, I know you treat and work with menopausal women, and we see the calcium levels go down in these women. Right. Right. So with that, what's going to happen is we are going to see a lot of osteoarthritis show up in the joints. But a lot of that is the movement patterns that we have already established and adopted in our bodies. Right. It's even the lack of the movement. And a lot of the movement patterns are dictated by our posture, our static and dynamic posture. Right.
Right, because we have those overused muscles, right? And those weak muscles.
Exactly. Yeah. There is a muscle imbalance, which we have created with this repetitive movement system that we create, and we don't balance our muscles on a daily basis.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Yeah, so with the calcium deficiency, then it starts getting really accelerated in those later years. And I see my clients coming in with a lot of rotator cuff issues and even like osteoarthritis of the shoulder, where they're like, oh, we really can't lift our arms up anymore. Like I would give them shoulder exercises and they have really hard time doing an overhead press.
Okay.
Right.
Right.
So we have to be
Which
careful.
becomes dangerous if you
Yes.
if you don't have full range of motion, because you're putting yourself at risk if you fall, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So those are some of the very familiar things that we know happen, or that happen because of the posture. So there is a direct connection between all these joint pains and range of motion dysfunctions, and even osteoarthritis and arthritis with our posture.
Right.
Then let's go a little beyond it.
Okay.
And beyond that, we have our mental health.
Right.
And emotional health.
Yeah.
And posture even dictates that. Because when we sit in a slumped position or even stand in a hunched over position, we are increasing we have hormones releasing in our blood all the time, right? So the cortisol levels go higher when we have this defeated, rounded shoulder posture.
Wow.
Now add to that the stress of work that we know that we have. Right. It might be a short-term project, but our brains and bodies are primal. They're still programmed to decipher, okay, there's danger out there. Well, you have to get this project done by Friday, or else. you might not have a job.
Right.
Right. I need to feed my kids somehow.
Yeah.
And there are bills, right?
For sure. Yeah.
So in the back of your head, all of this system is going on.
Right.
And what is it telling our brain and our body? It's telling us, let's get into that fight or flight mode. You are in danger.
Yeah.
Right. And we know, as modern humans, we know there's no tiger chasing us. Right. But our brain is like, well, there's a tiger chasing us. So let's get into that mode. Right. So there's a huge physiologic response to that fight or flight mode where we sense the danger. And so there are a few things that happen. Our breathing becomes faster.
Okay.
And now this is combined with the decreased oxygen exchange that we talked about.
Right. Because we're not doing deep breathing, we're shallow.
Exactly.
Breathing.
So now it becomes even shallower.
Yeah.
Because now it just stops right here, because now it's faster too. The heart rate goes up unnecessarily. This is not the heart rate through a cardio exercise. This is because we are really freaking out, right?
Right.
And then the cortisol levels go up high. So all of this physiologic response leads to our stress hormone going high in our bloodstream, getting high in bloodstream, raising in our bloodstream. So when that rises up, that leads to stress. That leads to depression, we know. And if we don't come out of it, and we know that we have one project after another, it's not like our work doesn't necessarily stop. When we don't break this stress cycle, we go under this chronic stress response where our bodies are like in that mode where, it's just the cortisol levels are staying high.
Right. Inflammation is high.
Exactly. Which drives the inflammation up.
Right.
When all of that is happening, well, our muscles tense. That's another physiological response because of cortisol levels going high, because of our breathing rate becoming higher, because of our heart rate rising up. Right. And that's going to lead to burnout. Why are we seeing such huge numbers of burnout in the workplace right now? right? And the higher
Exactly.
incidence of depression too.
Right.
It's no coincidence. It is because of the occupational lifestyle we have.
Right.
And there's no framework to preserve our physical and mental health while incorporating this technology into our lives.
Right. Right. Because when you look at it, all of this is fairly new, right? Within the
It
last, 40 years or so. So this is all new territory, so to speak.
Yeah, Jen, you have a great point there. And I do dig into the history of posture, like how we as human beings, we evolved from a common ancestor with the chimpanzees and became upright.
Right.
And having this uprightness, having this unhunched posture actually helped us survive. It helped us survive the predators, the dangerous predators. We could find food in the savannas. We could run long distances because of this upright posture.
Right.
And you're right. Over the last 70 years, since the Industrial Revolution, we have slowly become immobilized. We have slowly started embracing this technology. But think about it in evolutionary terms. That's blink of an eye. We know the very first human existed like 2.5 million years ago. So those human beings were continuously mobile, hunting for food, gathering food, taking care of babies.
There was so much more movement, right?
Exactly.
I mean, just in a daily, I would say even in the last 50 years, there was a lot more movement. We rely more on our cars to go places now than we do our own two legs.
I know.
And then if we're working from home, we're moving even less.
Yeah.
I mean, at least if you're at the office, you get up a couple times to go to your, the boss's office or your coworker's office or to the break room or to, at home, where do you go? The kitchen and come back, right? Or the bathroom and come back.
You're so right. And I'm all for hybrid and remote work.
Oh, for sure.
I just feel like we still need a better framework.
And that's it. That's it. Right.
Where we are also taking the ownership of our health while also taking care of work and we're not logged in 24/7.
Right.
We are able to break that stress cycle. And I think for that, it's not only the employee's responsibility, it's also the employer's responsibility.
Right.
That the expectations are established on both levels, that there are boundaries established.
Right. Right. Yeah. Right. But I think that's just it. It's creating that framework because since this is new territory, what does that look like? How do we navigate this? Because this is new, right?
It is.
But that's why Unhunched was created, correct?
Exactly. That is why.
And this is where Unhunched comes in.
Exactly. And you even think about that, take it a step further. Look at our kids today.
Yeah.
I have a 5th grader and 6th grader at home. They come home and they run to the basements. And I remember myself growing up, I would go out, no matter how cold it is, I would go outside and play in the cul-de-sac, and we'll have like a pickup game of like hide and seek, and we'll go
kick the can.
Exactly. And I see my kids and they're losing it.
Yeah.
Because now we have, even technology for them where they're on Discord all the time and their social life revolves around the PS5 and the Xbox. So that's why we are seeing these even anatomical changes in teenagers today, where there are bony structures growing at the bottom of our cervical spine.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because we have our head like this. So a lot of scientists are trying to predict, and evolutionary changes happen on a very, very, very minute scale, throughout the generations. So of course, we probably won't be able to see it in our lifetimes. But the evolutionary scientists are already predicting that if we don't take control of this, we might see the future humans look somewhat more like our predecessors again.
Wow.
Because there are certain parts of our body, again, those certain muscle groups that we are really overusing and they're becoming very active. And then the back of our bodies, or the posterior chain of our body, is becoming really weak.
Right.
And we know that these things can be passed down.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's where I feel like, it really makes an impact, that we are bound to move.
Yes.
Movement is so important to our bodies.
Right. Right. And it doesn't have to be crazy movement. It's just any type of movement.
Yeah.
If you are currently not getting any type of movement, would be the place to start.
Yeah. And I believe I saw a movement snack come in from you. You're strong for bodies, right?
Yes.
And that's perfect, because I say the same thing. Get up from the desk, set a timer for 30 minutes, get up from the desk, maybe just walk around your home for 5 minutes.
Right.
Maybe go upstairs, check your laundry for 5 minutes, but move around.
Yes.
Right? Whatever that movement looks like. Maybe it is a 30-minute class with Jen, which is perfect. I mean, if you can get that in, that's perfect. But then also remember that 30 to 45-minute class is not a cure for it all. And then you go and sit for the next 15 hours.
Right.
That is not going to take you there. We have to have those small movement snacks throughout the day.
Right.
And somebody asked me, what is the best movement snack if somebody had 15 minutes during the day today? And I told them it would be to walk around, because when we move, we are breathing better, we know. So now we are providing oxygen to our muscles and our spine, and we are decompressing a lot of the muscles that become tight when we are sitting or standing and typing. Right. So I say walking, or any type of movement which replicates walking around, or moving around your yoga mat in different directions and different planes of motion, is what you want to do in those 15 minutes. Right. Because that counteracts, that nourishes our spine, joints, and our muscles.
Right. Right. And I think it's so important, as you said, that just because, maybe you get up at 5 to get in your workout, but if the rest of your day is spent at your desk, it doesn't really balance out like that.
Yeah, there's a human movement specialist. Her name is Kate Bowman, and she has done extensive work on that particular aspect, even on athletes. Okay. So we see athletes today, again, leading sedentary lifestyle. These are recreational athletes, of course. Right. You have a desk job, and you are a triathlete, or you're a runner, or you're a swimmer or cyclist, right? Now you think, okay, you got your 1 hour run in. Right. And that's going to undo everything. That's not. She calls them active sedentary individuals.
Interesting. Okay.
So there's a new category of individuals who go and work out super hard into the gym in the morning for an hour, but then the rest of the day they're just glued on the chair, or maybe they just hop into the car and go home, or whatever that looks like. Right. And then they come home,
and sit some more.
and sit some more, because now we have to catch up on our Netflix shows. So there is a lot of research going on there, and that's right. That 1 hour workout is not the cure for it all. Right. And in no way do I mean that stop doing that.
Right. And in no way do we mean that you need more than that either, because more is not better. But what you're advocating is for movement throughout the day, whether that means parking your car a little further away when you go to the store, or, getting in some extra steps, maybe in your house, as you said, whatever that is, it's not adding additional exercise minutes to your day. It's adding additional movement to your day. And there's a huge difference between those two.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And there are certain moves that you can do. So we know that there are a lot of Zoom calls now happening.
Right.
And we also saw the Zoom fatigue set in for people.
Right.
So in my book, I have a lot of stretching exercises you can do while you're sitting on chair.
Oh, wow.
And just do them while you're taking that Zoom call. You're still moving, you're still stretching those overactive muscles. And better yet, if you can do some of them standing.
Okay.
So that's even better. And I did this with one of my clients, and she started doing it for her department before the Zoom call.
Wow.
And people loved it. They were like, oh, where did you get this idea? And she told them that, oh, my coach told me all these exercises. And she used to lead her Zoom calls with a 5-minute stretch.
I love it. That is great. If only more would do that, right?
Yeah, exactly. But there are many ways we can incorporate movement during the day. And the ideal limit at this point in time is like every 30 minutes. You change your body position.
Right.
And you incorporate some kind of movement as much as you can. Ideally, it should be 5 to 10 minutes every 30 minutes, but I understand everybody cannot get 10 minutes every time.
Right.
So whatever that looks like, maybe it's just a 2-minute stretch that you could squeeze in, but squeeze in some kind of movement, because when you move, the blood starts pumping through our body, flowing better through our bodies, and it nourishes our muscles, and that's how our posture can get better.
Right. And, and I think some people went, well, what's 2 minutes? But if you were to do 2 minutes 6 times throughout your day, it adds up, which is a lot more than 0 minutes. If you decide, well, it's not really, what's 2 minutes? That's not going to do me any good. It adds up. And so it's that little stuff that gives you big results for your better posture, which, as you said, the better posture, better overall health.
Exactly.
Right. Anything else that we should know about Unhunched and it coming out this May?
Yeah, Unhunched is coming out May 2023. Right now, it is in the pre-order phase, which is gonna end this weekend. But I'm gonna give you the link so that we can put it in the show notes. And on the Facebook group.
Wonderful.
So that if anybody is interested in reserving a signed copy of the book, this is your chance to do it. Otherwise, the chance will be like 2 weeks before the book gets published. So if you want to get your hands on the book, you can do that right now till at the end of this weekend, December 19th. And then after that, it goes on to the launch and publishing phase. So, and also I am a wellness consultant for organizations and companies. So I am also offering a lot of workshops, which are out there on the pre-order list. So they are at a very, very discounted rate at this time. You get 5 to 10 copies of the book, along with my workshop, which can be live on Zoom or whichever medium you use. Or if you're in greater Philadelphia area, it could be in person. I would come to your workplace and offer it.
That sounds great. That's exciting. I'm so excited to read this one when it comes out in May.
Yeah, thank you. I'm excited, and you'll be getting a copy.
Well, thank you. We appreciate you taking the time today to share all of this, because you really shared a lot of great information with us, and I can't thank you enough.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure, and I'm glad that we could do this. I'm so glad.
Yeah, well, thank you very much, Aesha. It's great speaking with you today.
Thank you. Thanks to you.
All right.